Welcome to our deep dive into productivity. We're going to be checking out some fascinating excerpts you gave us from The Productivity Factor by Dr. John DeMartini.
We'll be exploring how to get more done and hopefully make the whole process more enjoyable too.
Yeah, how to feel energized and actually enjoy being productive. So let's get right into it.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into the heart of DeMartini's approach.
Which is the power of values, right?
Yeah. He says true productivity, it comes from aligning your actions with your core values.
And tapping into that inner motivation instead of relying on external pressure, right?
That's the key. It's about finding that internal drive, that passion that keeps you going, even when things get tough. And what's really interesting is that DeMartini, he doesn't just rely on anecdotes or personal stories. He actually backs it up with neuroscience.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah. He talks about how when you're engaged in activities that actually resonate with your values, your brain literally functions differently. Like you experience heightened focus, you become more resilient, and you're less likely to procrastinate. It's really remarkable.
So it's not just like some fluffy self-help concept.
Yeah.
It has real scientific backing.
Precisely. It's grounded in how our brains work.
I love how DeMartini uses these real-life stories to illustrate his points. Like that one about the young mother who's struggling.
Oh, yeah, the one who feels inadequate compared to like a super successful businesswoman.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But then DeMartini helps her realize that, hey, raising amazing kids, that's a profoundly meaningful purpose.
Yeah.
And potentially even more impactful than running a business.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the value in what you're already doing, especially when it aligns with what you truly believe in.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that societal expectations, they can sometimes cloud our judgment of what truly matters. It's about defining success on your own terms.
Absolutely. It's about finding what truly resonates with you, regardless of what anyone else says.
Now, how do we actually uncover those values, though?
Right. That's the big question. Well, DeMartini provides a structured approach to help you do just that. He outlines a 13-question process. And what's really cool is it focuses on your actions rather than just your thoughts,
Okay, so it's not just about what we say we value, but what we actually do.
Exactly. It's about bridging that gap between our thoughts and our actions, because often our actions reveal our true priorities, even when we're not consciously aware of them.
That's so true. I've definitely experienced that in my own life. So tell me more about these questions.
Okay, so one of the most insightful questions that really stood out to me is how do you spend your time most? Because DeMartini really emphasizes that we always make time for the things that are truly important to us.
It's so true. Whether it's spending time with loved ones or pursuing a passion project or even, dedicating ourselves to a cause, we always find the time if it truly matters.
Exactly. And another powerful question, especially since you're looking to feel more energized and focused, is what energizes you most?
Like what activities actually leave you feeling invigorated and in that flow state, as opposed to drained?
Yeah, precisely. It's about identifying those activities that fuel your passion and leave you feeling alive.
I love that. It's all about finding those things that make you feel truly energized and engaged.
Absolutely. And the third question that I find incredibly revealing is, what do you most often talk to others about? It's about paying attention to those recurring themes in your conversations, those topics that you naturally gravitate towards, because they're often a good indication of what's truly important to you.
Okay, so it's like these questions, they're almost like clues, right?
Right.
Helping us uncover those hidden values.
Exactly. They're like breadcrumbs leading us back to our authentic self.
And then DeMartini has you color code and rank your answers. I love that.
Right. It takes it to another level. It's about turning those answers into a visual representation of your values, a personalized map of what truly matters to you.
It's like, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed by, information overload, this kind of framework can be so helpful to filter what's truly important.
Exactly. It's about creating a clear hierarchy so you can prioritize effectively and focus your energy where it matters most.
I love that. So we've talked about aligning actions with values on a personal level, but how does this translate to leadership and teamwork?
That's where things get really interesting. So DeMartini, he takes this concept and applies it to leading teams and working effectively with others.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So one key area he focuses on is delegation. He says delegation becomes so much easier and more effective when you understand the values of your team members.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, he even says, delegate to those who see it as a high priority and will probably do them with greater efficiency and finesse than I would.
I love that quote. It's about empowering your team and recognizing their strengths.
Exactly. And, DeMartini also highlights the link between employee engagement and productivity. He says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically says that truly engaged employees, they're more productive, and that engagement, it stems from aligning their work with their values and sense of purpose.
Oh, for sure. It makes perfect sense. When you're passionate about what you're doing, you naturally put in more effort and achieve better results.
Absolutely. And he even cites a Gallup poll finding that businesses with above average employee engagement, they experience a whopping 147% higher earnings per share.
Wow. That's a pretty convincing statistic.
Right. It shows that investing in employee well-being, it's not just a nice thing to do, it actually has a significant impact on the bottom line.
I love how DeMartini bridges that gap between personal growth and business success.
Yeah, it's all connected. And this principle, it goes beyond just the workplace, too. DeMartini talks about how understanding the other person's values, it's crucial in any interaction, whether you're pitching an idea, leading a team, or even just having a more persuasive conversation.
So it's about recognizing that everyone is motivated by different things and tailoring your communication accordingly.
Exactly. It's about getting to the heart of what drives the other person, not just focusing on your own agenda.
Okay, so this is where things get a little more complex, right? DeMartini, he talks about how our voids can actually become powerful drivers of achievement.
Yes. It's a fascinating concept. He uses the term voids to describe those areas in our lives where we feel a sense of lack or incompleteness. And he says that when we understand and channel these voids effectively, they can become powerful motivators.
Wow, that's interesting. So instead of viewing our voids as weaknesses, we can actually harness their power to fuel our growth and achieve our goals.
Yeah, exactly. And he illustrates this with a great story about a paper company CEO. His childhood experience of poverty, it fueled his mission to provide paper to those in need.
That's incredible. It's like turning a perceived weakness into a source of strength.
Precisely. It's a beautiful example of how our voids can ignite a deep-seated desire to make a difference in the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's almost like our perceived flaws or shortcomings, they can actually be our greatest assets.
Absolutely. It's all about perspective, and understanding the deeper motivations that drive us.
It's like those experiences that we might initially view as negative, they can actually become the catalyst for our greatest achievement.
Yeah. It's about recognizing the power of our past experiences and using them to fuel our growth and create a more meaningful future.
Wow, that's really powerful stuff. It definitely challenges the way we often think about success and achievement.
It does, and it's a reminder that our journeys, they're all unique, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach to finding fulfillment and living a truly productive life.
I couldn't agree more.
And it's those deep motivations, right, that can really help us stick to our goals even when things get tough.
Totally. And that brings us to another key aspect of DeMartini's work, the power of perspective.
Yeah.
He talks about how important it is to see both sides of every event or challenge. Instead of getting stuck in the negative, he encourages us to seek out the hidden order or the potential benefits, even in those chaotic situations.
Yeah, and he has a really powerful story about a man who was struggling with guilt after a refinery explosion.
Oh, wow.
And DeMartini, he kind of helped him see the positive ripple effects that actually came from that tragedy.
Really? Like what?
Well, things like enhanced safety protocols and even technological advancements that help prevent future accidents.
So even in this horrible event, there were these positive outcomes that emerged.
Yeah, exactly. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes even the most difficult experiences can lead to positive change.
For sure. It's like shifting our focus from what went wrong to how we can learn and grow from those experiences.
Yeah, it's about finding the opportunity in the obstacle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And DeMartini, he actually offers a practical tool for cultivating this kind of balanced perspective, right?
Yes, he does. It's called the DeMartini method. Have you heard of it?
I have. I've read a little bit about it. I'm not sure I totally understand how it works, though.
Okay, well, it's basically a structured process. It involves a series of targeted questions, and those questions, they're designed to help you dissolve those regrets that you might be holding on to or overcome those fears that are holding you back.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it can really help you gain a clearer understanding of the bigger picture, like when you're feeling overwhelmed by information or just struggling to make sense of a challenging situation.
So it's a way to like kind of unpack those seemingly negative experiences and extract like those hidden benefits or the lessons learned. Right?
Exactly.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so this is where I think things get really interesting. DeMartini's perspective on spirituality.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
So he's not talking about like religion or dogma.
Right. It's not about following a specific set of beliefs.
Okay, yeah.
It's about, it's more about living in congruence with what truly inspires you.
Got it.
Like, he encourages us to see the spirituality that's inherent in any action that aligns with someone's highest values, even if those actions, appear more materialistic on the surface.
Oh, okay, I see.
He tells this great story about a woman. She didn't really see her husband as spiritual because he was so focused on his business, you know?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but through like further exploration, she realized that his work, it was actually his unique form of like inspired action.
Wow, that's a good point.
Right.
It's like sometimes we have these preconceived notions about what spirituality should look
Definitely.
like. But really, it's about finding your own path to purpose and meaning.
Exactly. And I think that's what I really appreciate about DeMartini's approach. He doesn't try to fit you into a box. He encourages you to define what matters most to you and then live in alignment with those values.
And he celebrates the diversity of perspectives out there.
Absolutely. And he recognizes the inherent value in each individual's journey.
I love that. So we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember, right? Knowledge is only powerful when it's applied.
Oh, for sure. It's one thing to understand these concepts, but it's another thing entirely to put them into practice.
Yeah. Like DeMartini's framework, it offers us a roadmap. But the real journey, it begins when we take these insights and start integrating them into our own lives.
Exactly.
It's time to put on your explorer hat and embark on your own adventure of self-discovery.
I love that analogy.
Remember those 13 questions we talked about? It might be helpful to take some time to reflect on those and think about what your answers might be.
Yeah, like what are those activities that make you feel truly alive? What are those relationships that bring you joy and fulfillment? What are those causes that you're passionate about?
And what are those voids that might be driving you? What are those experiences, maybe even the ones that seem negative at the time, that might actually have hidden benefits just waiting to be uncovered?
It's about viewing our lives through a new lens, a lens of possibility and potential.
Yeah, exactly. And this deep dive, it's just the beginning, right? It's a spark to ignite your own journey of self-discovery and maximize productivity.
It's about empowering you to create a life that is truly fulfilling and aligned with your authentic self.
Wow, this has been such a fascinating deep dive into the productivity factor.
It really has.
I'm curious, like, what are some of the key takeaways that have resonated most with you?
One thing that really struck me is how DeMartini, he kind of reframes this whole idea of productivity.
Yeah.
It's not just about like checking things off a to-do list. It's more about aligning your actions with what truly matters to you.
Oh, totally. It's about finding that sense of purpose.
Yeah. And when you do that, it makes the whole process, more enjoyable. You actually want to do the things that you're doing.
It's so true. I think a lot of us, we get caught up in that hustle and grind mentality. Like we're always pushing ourselves to do more, achieve more, be more.
Yeah.
But we lose sight of why we're doing it all.
Absolutely. And DeMartini's approach, it's such a good reminder that true productivity, it comes from a place of alignment.
Yeah. When you're clear about your values and you're pursuing goals that resonate with those values, you naturally tap into like a deeper well of motivation.
Exactly. And that's where those 13 questions, they become so powerful. They help you peel back the layers and really get to the heart of what drives you, what motivates you, what fulfills you.
Yeah, it's not always an easy process, though. Like, it requires, honesty with yourself.
Oh, for sure. You got to be willing to confront those areas where you might be out of alignment.
Yeah, but the rewards are so worth it.
Absolutely. And, that story about the CEO who was driven by his experience with poverty as a child, that's such a great example. He could have chosen a totally different path.
Right.
One that wasn't so focused on giving back, but his void, as DeMartini calls it, that fueled his passion and purpose.
It's such a powerful reminder that our perceived weaknesses, they can actually become our greatest strength.
Yeah. It's all about perspective.
Totally. And speaking of perspective, DeMartini's story about the man struggling with guilt, after that refinery explosion. It's so powerful.
It really is.
It highlights how our perception of events, it could really shape our whole experience.
Yeah, and how shifting that perception, even just a little bit, can open up all these new possibilities.
It's about choosing to focus on those lessons learned, those positive outcomes, and the potential for a brighter future.
Right, instead of dwelling on the negative.
Exactly. And, I think DeMartini's emphasis on spirituality is also worth mentioning. He's not saying you have to follow a specific religion or anything.
Right, it's about finding your own unique path to purpose and meaning.
Exactly. It's about living in alignment with your values and pursuing goals that feel authentic to you.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this whole deep dive so valuable. It's not just about learning some techniques or strategies,
Yeah.
It's about embarking on this journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. And creating a life that is truly fulfilling.
So as we wrap up, this has been a fantastic exploration of DeMartini's framework, but it's up to you to take these insights and apply them to your own life.
Absolutely. Remember, you have the power to choose how you respond to challenges, how you define success, and how you design a life that reflects your authentic self.
So go out there, explore, experiment, and keep striving to create a life that lights you up.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the productivity factor. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Until next time, keep diving deep.
And keep reaching for your full potential.